Okay, and this is the second to last page, actually page 11, but we call it page 10. And for this one, I'm also going to start with pattern paper. So I'm putting the book away. That was the previous one. And now we're going to use these happy polka dots. So this is a pattern paper by Chamel. And I love it. I thought it was so happy. And I'm just cutting it a little shorter. And I'm going to place it right in the middle. And again, one of those pages where you don't really know about the polka dots, the pattern paper in the end, but it was a great way to start, and it it inspires, it gives you inspiration to start. It makes the page less intimidating, and then once you get going, it's just like this down the rabbit hole. That would have been a cool title for this workshop, down the rabbit hole. So really lovely way to start, just to get it done. Start somewhere using Mod Podge, smooth it down, and not a difficult thing to do. And even if the paper creases a little bit, especially with thinner paper, then that's fine. You don't have to stress about it. It just adds more texture to the page. So I'm just going to let this dry, and then once it's dry, we're going to start. So I'm tearing off the middle parts again. I don't want anything sticking out. It just gives you problems later on. So I'm like, just get rid of it. I'm not going to stick it down again, because by this point I just want to get started on the page. And I don't want to waste any more time waiting for Mod Podge to dry. So I'm just tearing off little pieces here and there. And now I'm just going to paint it again with whatever is left on my palette. So I'm adding a tiny bit of yellow here. And let's just paint. It's more of a wash. So my paint is quite wet. And I'm just going to paint. This is one of those pages that just turned out exquisitely. I was so happy with the way it turned out. It's very dramatic. It looks like an underwater scene or a super secret garden under the water. I don't know. It just turned out lovely. So I'm very excited to share the process and the journey of this page and art journal with you. So I sometimes it's hard, okay? To be honest with you, sometimes I'm like, what's the next step? Am I not doing the same thing over and over and over and over again? But then, you know what? You just have to trust that even if you do the same thing over and over again, every single journal will turn out differently. So I'm using a little molding paste, and I have a stencil that I made for, I think, it was my 16 Ways to Love workshop. And I used the silhouette stencil material to cut it out with. It's almost like a plastic material, so you can rinse it and use it. But it's a horrible pain to actually use the silhouette on this. It took me hours and hours to get rid of all the little pieces because it was sticky and everything was sticking together. But now it's one of those nice serendipities. I'm spraying with a little bit of yellow paint and a little bit of water, and I'm just going to let it flow and then just let it dry. So just knowing that even if you do the same thing over and over again, everything will look different. If I think I should do an experiment one day and use the exact same technique on 4 pages. Maybe I should do that for a challenge one month in art journaling, and just to see, even if you do the same thing, how different it will look, Okay, so now I'm adding this beautiful vivid green. And I'm telling you, this page has traveled very far. Further than most of the pages. So it's almost amazing. It's almost incomprehensible to think that where it ended and where I'm now, this is how it it's a process. And a little bit of the dark green. So the light green was too light. So I'm like, okay, let's add a little bit more drama to this. And a little bit of paint splatters. And okay, now I'm just going to paint with white. And usually when I bring out the white paint, it's when I feel, I don't know, maybe I feel a little stuck. Sometimes I do feel stuck, but sometimes I also just want to bring back a little peace and quiet. I love the way how the inks blend with the white acrylic paint. So you can see I'm painting big strip of white and then I'm blending it in with the green. And this is also a lovely way. And you can see I'm also painting around some of the polka dots or the circles, just to keep that little bit of a idea of the background. It just makes it an interesting, element on your page. So just paint, and I'm not covering everything, just here and there. In this page, I'm also bringing out the Prussian blue, and Prussian blue is for sure one of my very, very, very favorite colors. I think if I'm only allowed to bring 2 colors of acrylic paint to the deserted island, it will be the turquoise and the Prussian blue. So that's one of my favorite, but you'll see I'm going to bring it out in a little bit. So I'm going to play you music and you can just see how I'm traveling on the journey of this layout or page and how it's coming together. Right, here I'm painting with Prussian blue, and I'm using a small brush, so little brush strokes here and there. Did you also notice while you were listening to the music, did you notice that I was just using a baby wipe to blend some of the paints there? And now I'm just creating a background basically for the cut file or the illustration, just to make it pop a little more. Because the background is a little green, I just decided to add a little bit more drama. So I'm doing it with Prussian blue ink, and actually the Prussian blue paint, I like it more than the Prussian blue ink. And now I'm just adding a tiny bit of blue into that white, just by a small brush, you can see. And I'm just wetting it in the paint splatters, and then this is just play. So much fun. How this page actually came out is a little not strange for me, but you can see it's not very symmetrical. It has a very strong element on one side, and then this weird green thing in the middle of the left page. But you know what? I'm not too concerned, because art journals to me is a practice in creativity and not in perfection. So even if you feel the need to that it's not working, just leave it and do another one. And that's the joy about art journaling, is that it's not something that you're going to sell. It's not something that you even have to show everyone. Well, of course you can, but to me it's always that idea of there's more. There's another one that I can make, the next one, and everything that you learn. And that's one thing that you should really, really remember, is that every single marking that you make on every single page, you take into your next endeavor. You take into the next page. It's that intuitive process is exponential. Not one little bit of what you do on your art journals is wasted. It goes into your soul, it goes into your heart, it goes into your mind as creative memory. And honestly, it just builds. And that's why the art journals just get better and better and better. If you look at art journal experts like Dina Wakley or Julie Pfeiffer-Balzer, and you look at their very first art journals and you look at what they're doing now, it's unbelievable, the growth that's come. And that is the exponential ability of art journaling, just how it really infuses you with creativity, and nothing that you do in your art journals will go to waste. Now I'm painting just with my finger. You should do that. That's really, really fun. So I'm just having some fun there, painting, spreading paint around. And then this is a wonderful way to blend paints. You can see I'm keeping that little polka dot right at the bottom corner there. I'm keeping it around, and I like the smoothness of what's happening on there. I just want to bring some smooth back, and that just makes the texture a little less, because the words on there with the molding paste is already texture. So I'm very good with not having any more of that. Just a tiny bit here, just dabbing it. That's a fun way to do it. I actually forgot that I did this. Wow. Love. Okay, now I'm just adding a little bit of hot glue, and I don't like to waste paper. So you can see that there was printables on the other side of these illustrations that I just used the other side of the paper. But that's just me. Paper is not super cheap, especially not the Strathmore mixed media paper that I like to print my illustrations on. So I would reuse a sheet easily if it didn't print right or the colors wasn't right. And that's sometimes how I create my illustrations is just by printing them, and then I go back into Photoshop and I adjust the colors until I'm happy with the result. Okay, so just adding a tiny bit of markings here and there, and I'm loving how this page is coming together. I'm really loving it. It's also one of those pages where there was a perfect place for me to write, and I actually wrote, I can't remember now, I think I wrote on the Prussian blue part with a white pen. I had an art professor in university when I was studying art, and he always said that a page is not complete without a red paint splatter or a red accent. And I think maybe that's why I just added a tiny few drops of red to this page, and look what a difference it makes. It really just makes a difference. Now, typically I will set this page out overnight to dry completely. I love the way that the acrylic paints dries on a page, but you can see there obviously the green did walk a little, and here you can see the final page. One of my absolute favorites. I love it. I love the white journaling on the edges of the page, and I just love how it turned out. I hope you like it too. So this is the second last video, and then I'll see you in the very last one. Bye.